In today's time where clowns are the go-to decisions for a child's birthday party or the fuel of one's own nightmare, the modern jester is usually misunderstood. You're darn right. From the Jimbos to the Bimbos up to the Himbos, there's a lot of modern stigma for varying roles, each with their own unique interpretation. Okay, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. Meet Archy Armstrong, or known for his court name, Archibald. He was born sometime in the late 1500s in Scotland. Exact date? I don't know. Because record keeping back then was basically just, Archy Armstrong, huh? Yep, he's right here at the record books. Really? Can I see? Oh, is your job double checking the record keeper's work? No. Exactly. Now go away since I'll do more record keeping. Okay, sheesh. What we do know is that before he became the most chaotic jester in royal history, he started out doing something a little more pastoral. No, he wasn't a priest. No, he wasn't a pastor, both different professions, by the way. Yeah, Archie was a shepherd, a literal shepherd, herding sheep, living that woolly peasant life, which honestly makes his career trajectory kind of wild. At some point in the early 1600s, Archie stumbled his way into the court of King James VI of Scotland, who would later become King James I of England. No one knows exactly how Archie got the job. One version says he was just that funny. Yo, your majesty! Your mama fat! Oh my goodness, is that equipped to the fertility of the motherland? Another theory is that he might have had some court connections or used charm and sheer audacity to worm his way in. And just like that, Archie Armstrong became the official court jester of not one, but two monarchies, the Scottish king and the English king, who are both the same guy. Archie got a front row seat to the British throne, with a jester's cap and slinging insults like a 40-year-old man on a random girl's Instagram feed. Fat bit. And make no mistake, this wasn't some dance for the king and go home gig. Archie became an institution in James' court. He traveled with him, sat in on meetings, was present during royal audiences, but unlike most jesters who were just entertainment, Archie had an edge. And by edge, I mean he was usually a dick whenever he had a chance. He wasn't just making fun of people. He was going for people. He targeted nobles, clergy, diplomats, and the craziest part is, he got away with it. Why? Because King James found him funny, that's why. Your religion is stupid, that hat's gay, your capability to handle economic struggles is by far the worst thing we have in this court. Are we supposed to laugh? Archie's reputation grew. People started fearing the guy. Like imagine walking into court and knowing there's a lunatic in the corner waiting to roast your religion, your country, and your haircut. Eventually, when James died, Archie didn't get booted, but instead, he got promoted. When Charles I took the throne, he kept Archie on, because apparently, a jester who insults foreign dignitaries and mock priests was still preferable to finding a new one. See, Charles was a different kind of king. More reserved, more aloof, and way more paranoid. He didn't trust many people in court, and Archie knew that. He leaned into it hard. If Charles disliked someone, Archie would clown them in public. If Charles had doubts about a foreign ally, Archie would joke about their loyalty. These weren't harmless jokes, by the way. They were strategic insults veiled in humor, designed to influence the opinion of the court. Archie was punching way above his pay grade, and people noticed. Foreign ambassadors started writing home about how unbearable court was, not because of policy, not because of war, but because of one guy in a jester's cap. My king, I just wanted to write home that I want to kill a clown. He's a jester, doofus. Wait, aren't they the same thing? What? No! How can you be in charge of diplomacy if you don't even know the basics of these? Well, okay, smart guy, what's the difference? A jester improvises his joke, while clowns are the butt of the joke. Well, excuse me, Google doesn't exist in this timeline to fact check! Religious figures, especially Catholics, despised him. Even higher-ranking nobles started treating Archie less like an entertainer and more like a liability. But Charles didn't care. Because here's the thing, Archie was saying what Charles wanted to say but couldn't. Kings couldn't insult bishops or mock Spanish nobles without causing a drama. But a jester could say, it's just a joke, your grace, calm your titties, and somehow get away with it. And maybe it could have lasted forever. Maybe Archie would have retired rich and smug, but power makes people sloppy. And Archie didn't know when to shut up. He had insulted Catholics before, sure, He had mocked noblemen, diplomats, even bishops. But one joke, that's all it took. One joke aimed at the wrong target, and the king who once clapped at every insult suddenly wasn't laughing. He insulted the one group you absolutely shouldn't touch if you wanted to stay on King Charles I's good side. The clergy, and by clergy specifically, the powerful, rising, and very easily offended Archbishop of Canterbury, William Laud. Now, Laud wasn't just some background bishop. He was Charles' religious head, the guy pushing the king's controversial church reforms and basically trying to turn the Church of England into something that felt a lot more Catholic than Protestant. A lot of people hated him for it, Archie included. So one day, Archie took a shot. He made a joke. Here's what he said. "Who made thee a bishop?" Now, in modern English, that sounds like the start of a dumb church roast, but in the 1600s, that question hit like a yo mama joke during a funeral. He also added, not Saint Peter, nor Saint Paul, but the devil. Mind you, this wasn't said in a single day. This was eventually a build-up from previous meetings. It was a direct insult, not just to Laud, but to the legitimacy of his entire position. In a time when religious authority was everything. One of my favorite wordplay that he said was, "Great praise be given to God, and little laud to the devil." And I think that added a lot to the heat he received given that Laud was recorded at 5 feet tall. Oh, so little laud to the devil because Laud was short. Now I get it. Holy shit. And remember, none of these things he said was in private. This wasn't backstage banter. This was a sarcastic jab in front of people who were definitely not fans of religious criticism. Now Laud, unsurprisingly, didn't laugh. And Charles, the man who had laughed at every one of Archie's stunts for years, suddenly went quiet. And then Archie was banished. Just like that. No slow fall from grace. One joke, one offended bishop, boom, gone. He wasn't executed or imprisoned. That would have made him a martyr. Instead, Charles did something worse. He stripped Archie of relevance. He cut him off from court, from power, from his entire identity. Archy Armstrong, once the most feared mouth in Britain, died in obscurity. And you know what's wild? Archie never apologized. He settled in London as a moneylender, but a lot of people were out for him due to his strict malpractice, which he then turned to religious propaganda, and not the kind rooted in Wither's subtle critique. Instead, he began publishing bitter, inflammatory pamphlets aimed squarely at Catholics, bishops, and anyone he saw as corrupting the Church of England. Religious propaganda over here. Hey, aren't you Archie, the former Jester? Haha, yeah, that's me. Hey, you're not real. One of his most famous works was titled Archie's Dream, sometimes Jester to His Majesty, but exiled the court by Canterbury's malice. It was religious agitation, and it helped contribute to the already volatile political religious landscape of pre-Civil War England. His final years were spent publishing more pamphlets. Archy Armstrong died in 1672, likely in his early 90s, which was an extremely long life by 17th century standards, by the way.
But how is he the worst jester in history then?
Weren't you paying attention?
Isn't it your responsibility to make it easier to understand for your viewers?
Long story short, a jester's role was to relieve tension, use humor to challenge authority without causing destruction, but in a way that maintained harmony within the court. Archie failed on every front. He inflamed religious divisions during one of the most fragile periods in England's history. He insulted foreign diplomats and church leaders, not with charm or subtext, but with naked hostility that endangered royal diplomacy. He used his platform after court life to spread intolerance, fanning the flames of civil and religious strife rather than quelling them. And to put it more bluntly, he did more harm than good. Well, even worse. He did the worst things his role has to offer. There's also other insults that he said and other batshit crazy things he did, but I'll leave it up to your research. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Leave a like and subscribe, and stay stable.